Kaolin Wardens battling it out in a best of 3 in an elimination match. We've already had a couple.
Uh-oh.
Promise.
No way.
He's going to step forward and see 5 of the Kaolin Wardens waiting around the corner. They're not going for it. They're going to let Promise back away. Slash will head back to base. I like the creativity, Myth, but it doesn't pay off this time.
I can't believe they didn't at least try and take out Promise there. You got a couple blinks in the side of the Kaolin Wardens, decent CC potential, maybe just worried about leveling up. Some of that CC would want to keep you away from moving in towards the taunt for Surcat, or maybe the knock-up for Oceans would really hurt your jungle clear. So instead, I suppose just praying that he would have walked into the 5 of them. I don't know. That seemed like a pretty prime opportunity. It's not as if Yomoja's exactly tanky just yet, but regardless, the Kaolin Wardens reset themselves back to neutral. It's just a small threat.
I didn't introduce you. What's your name?
Mifflin?
That's Mifflin. My name's Dolson. Doug, also with us.
Did you not introduce us?
No, we went right into the action with Promise
man.
nearly getting jumped on by 5. And so no one knew who was commentating their games or spectating them. And hyper important that we get that all sorted out. Now, these are 2 teams, Miff, that I think throughout the course of this week, we started to learn more about the identity of this Yomi Tanuki team. You know, they weren't seeded in that top 4. The matches later on today actually ended up being the top 4 teams that we figured would be there. Though the duo lane drama maybe not over. Grave here, it's level 2 and it's not even in lane. It's fresh after the purple buffs. And how about a Riptide backwards from Promise?
Oh my god.
Beads from Tuba. The last bounce of the bubble's enough. And Promise, just moments ago, nearly getting 5-man ganked at level 1. Turns it around with the help of Grave and a great start for the Tanuki.
Just pay it forward, right? You go for your little cringe gank early, get it returned by Yomi Tanuki. Unfortunately for Tuba, I think he actually walked into every single bit of damage that he could have there. Every single tick of the bubble from Promise finds its way home, and that slow keeps him in range for all the ranged auto attacks. That said, it's not that big a deal. You at least got the experience from Purple. The wave hasn't even gotten to the tower just yet. You're looking at a pretty significant XP disparity, I suppose. Maybe about a quarter level for Tuba, but the most important is where that first blood actually lands. And going over to the support, I'm sure Tuba's okay with that.
And LAON wants to get things going for the Kaolin Wardens. Grave assists on the first blood. Taken down to about half HP before LAON on the Surcat makes his way over towards right, pick up some of this neutral farm. So he's gone Bluestone on the Surcat. But Tuba also goes Bluestone on the Hachiman, worth looking at potentially. We've seen a lot of the Death Toll starts into Aussie, Exy, those types of builds. Poke damage potentially the name of the game here for Tuba to stay alive and build up some threat over in duo.
Yeah, Hachiman very good at just throwing out that Heavenly Banner from a range. Has so much mana sustain just by nature of being Hachiman. One of the better ability hunters in the game as well. Not exactly a great position to be in, though. Hachiman wants to be able to use that EI Jutsu aggressively for the stun. If you're forced to use it defensively every single time, you're missing out on a large deal of that burst potential. Not sure what Leon's getting up to over here.
Being annoying.
I suppose. Take a little bit of the farm away from your soul laner, too. Slash already forced back to base. That's tough. Experience loss on both side lanes for the Kaolin Wardens.
Now, it's something we've briefly hinted at prior to fighting breaking out, but both teams have sort of showed us an identity over the last few days. The Tanuki team we hadn't quite figured out, but this is the identity of the Kaolin Wardens. It's LAON all over the map, and it's LAON realizing his team wants to play around him, or will play around him. Take it how you will.
Regardless of
regardless of desire, it's going to happen. And it's been a lot of these controlling type picks. Now gets the Surcat. Has a great Naja that we saw yesterday. Some other good options. Seems like wherever LAON goes on the map, that's where the Kaolin Wardens follow.
Yeah, Surcat jungle, I think, pretty interesting as a talking point as well. We've only seen it once so far this week, and it was a full tank Surcat. Berserker shield in second slot, straight down. I believe it was even a prophetic cloak for him as well. LAON generally has been very vocal about tank jungle meta. Does not love it. So I'm thinking he's probably going to go down a damage tree. Jotun's in first slot, more than likely, just to get that CDR available. But otherwise, I am curious to see how he decides to itemize. Could just go down the complete standard, right? Jotun's, Hydras, Heartseeker, full burst style, but you really want to be able to stick around in these fights a little bit longer. The reason Tank Circuit has seen so much value in the past is because of how committal all of her damage is, how long it takes to channel that ultimate, just gives over some opportunities to your opposition to return damage quickly. Maybe a little bit of defense could do him well.
I'm thinking, you know, the sets we watched yesterday, Leon had near 100% kill participation across both games. I think there was one kill towards the end of a game where the rest of the Kaolin Wardens were fighting and Leon was on a different side of the fight and just didn't grab an assist. And then in the post-game interview, we talked to Tuba. I was like, Tuba, you're going up against a Maui and a Freya. That's like one of the most sought-after duo lanes right now. And Tuba said, I just got to sit back. Leon, you know, he's got sort of this the storyline built around him that he takes over teams. Right. You know, I don't know what that is in English.
Me either. A little something,
it's something. Right. A little what do you call it or something like that. But Tuba's fully on board, and it seems like the rest of this team is as well. Saw plenty of tweets from this Kaolin Wardens team where they realize they're not seated in that top 4. However, believe they have an ability to make a run, and I think 4 sets in a row is what you got to win from this point in the event onward in order to make it into the SPL. And Yomi Tanuki got a lot of personality on that team as well. Rundus maybe fell with a bit of criticism earlier in the weekend, seeing a lot of Jormungandr and you know, where's the God Pool lie? Now we'll play the RDO. Tuba mounted archery away, but walks back towards Grave.
What?
And Grave will be given a kill. And this Pele off to a good start here in game 1.
My man had a direct line to his tier 2 tower and just pulls the trigger to turn to right. What?
The horse was stabled for too long. You needed a little extra galloping, you know.
The wild hare here was not listening to its rider. Tuba, look, I couldn't tell you, man. That is, maybe I thought maybe he was trying to bait towards his teammates. I look at the mini-map, nobody's there either. Slight misplay.
Do you consider Harpy's teammates? No, they're
who's to say? He probably dies either way, but
that play had a little je ne sais quoi to it,
there was something special there. A little special sauce from Tuba. Look,
doesn't pay off.
It has not been an ideal game for Tuba so far. You know, dying on invade, now getting ganked again by Grave, but
is that expected on a Hachiman? I mean,
no.
Are you ceding pressure?
You remember the narrative of the 2 safest hunters in the game? It was Jingwei and Hachiman.
We haven't talked about Hachiman in so long.
Yeah, they released time, and he was just way safer than both of them.
Right.
But Hachi is incredibly difficult to kill. I mean, he survived the entirety of the Emoji Ultimate too. Just small blunder at the tail end there.
Oh, what you're picking Hachiman for maybe is the safety then. Hasn't paid off for Tuba just yet. Hasn't fallen that far behind, just the 1 level. Shinigami finishes up the Aussie, and so the laning phase not going to get much easier for Tuba. At least until he's able to go back and finish up. You know, the tier 1 item still doesn't feel great to be behind, but it's less impactful than having a full Aussie on the other side compared to just the tier 2. So right now, it's a massive advantage for Shinigami, and that means the Kaolin Wardens, they're going to fight elsewhere. Grave initiated on by Leon, but how about the knockups from the rest of the Yomi Tanuki?
Got the dash.
They've rallied around the Kaolin Wardens, and both junglers drop for now. The mid laners will join the fight. Damage out from XD on the back end. Some sustain up from Rundus, and it seems like both teams happy with just the 1-for-1.
I don't know if Promise is all too happy about it. Nearly finds the lockdown on both Oceans and Slash, but able to narrowly escape. That is too much sustain on the side of Yomi Tanuki already. The Kaolin Wardens, I think, get a heat check early on, just 7 minutes into the game. The healing from Rundus, the meditation from Promise, the healing from Promise, the self-sustain from Grave, which will likely come a little bit later on. I'm keeping my eyes on the builds now. Brawler's Beat Stick, gotta be on the mind of the Kaolin Wardens. Leon sure has 100% anti-heal when he's in that ultimate. But otherwise, maybe you consider an Ankh here. It's not as if Rundus can be choosy with his heals.
Man, Grave taking all of this talk about Leon personally, making his own mark on the game. 1 level ahead of the Circuit. 3 out of 3 affected kills on the Pele. That was one thing we noted earlier on when the Yomi Tanuki dropped in their set. I mean, you're going up against some of the very talented teams that are still on the upper side of the bracket. And it felt like Grave was a bit quiet in a couple of those sets. And so I think this is the type of game Grave really needing. Regardless of how it turns out, we can at least say in the early portion of this game, the Pele's made its mark.
And done so incredibly well. I mean, even in the last team fight, gets a really unfortunate interaction where the Volcanic Lightning is canceled by Leon's ultimate, or not canceled, stopped in place, I should say. You'd think he'd die immediately afterward, but found a whole lot of value before he falls down. Yomi Tanuki are a team that have played through a whole lot of aggression in the majority of their sets, and continue to do so as Rundis loses the dash.
Rundis initiated on by Leon, and that's a pretty simple kill over in solo. Slash plus Leon was a big win condition for the Kaolin Wardens yesterday. Guan Yu plus Cirquet, plenty of initiation for this Wardens team. Just need Joshi and Tuba to get there, deal the damage. And Ocean's on the Xing Chen myth. I mean, we haven't seen it. Yeah, just the one assist so far. But initiation into Whirlwind of Rage and Steel feels like, at least in the last set that we watched this Wardens team play, Oceans and Leon very much on the same page with one another. In those initiations, the jungle roams, we're all on par.
But something I've noticed from Leon in particular is that he's kind of stuck in the Season 9 jungle pathing. We don't see him often rotate over towards this duo lane. Feels like when junglers get involved towards duo, that is one of the most important turning points, especially in the early game. You can see it. 2 rotations from Grave in the first 10 minutes have put Tuba at a really big disadvantage. Shinigami has been playing hyper-aggressive, attempted invades toward purple buff on its own, controlling the majority of the neutral farm over there. A couple more rotations from Grave just keeps Tuba playing passively. If Leon could find his way over to the left side of the map, I think would go a long way in getting Tuba back into this game. It's an entire item disparity between him and Shinigami.
Oh my God.
I mean, Hachi's out. He's not fighting anymore. I'm sure he's got some golden pocket. Could probably get at least a balance blade,
yeah,
but
right, tier 2, you probably.
Still not ideal.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna need 600-700 more gold. Although actually a bit cheaper if that's what the second item is there. Regardless, don't have enough money for it just yet. Again, it's, you know, tier 3 to tier 2 feels still pretty bad just thanks to the passives of a couple of those first items. And I was wondering, and we were wondering, I'll give you some credit here, Myth. Actually, I'll give you all the credit. You were wondering what direction Leon was going to go with his build. Stone of Binding after the Jotun's Wrath. But to lock down those targets and really set up for additional burst damage. Something we saw a lot of yesterday with this team was Leon plus Slash, yes, in the team fights, but also combining for blue buff invades. One more for the Kaolin Wardens, but that's opened up. A Gold Fury for the Yomi Tanuki on the left side of the map. Whirlwind of Rage and Steel sends Promise out of the River's Rebuke, but it's right towards Tuba, who's dove by Grave. Oceans will flip away. The Tanuki get the Gold Fury in the meantime. Leon joins the fight over on left, trades out the 1-for-1 kill. And Promise on the dash away, caught out by Slash. Ends up being Gold Fury, yes, for the Tanuki, but they've lost one more member.
2 for 1. I think you still favor Tanuki there. Tuba being the one that dies, actually probably ideal now. His bounty just much lower than everybody else's. So long as he doesn't pick up a kill, he's just not exactly valuable to shut down. Yeah, Crusher, I'm fine with that. If you're going for a poke damage, you don't want to really box in lane. Get some additional value from the Heavenly Banner. Still has attack speed on it, so it doesn't hurt you too much either. Crusher in a very good spot. The Kaolin Wardens, that's the first rotation we've seen from Leon to the left-hand side, and it was just to prevent that Gold Fury. Unsuccessful in that, successful in finding a couple of kills, equalizes the game just ever so slightly. But Tuba, he's still in the fire, man. I mean, Shinigami's been allowed to play here too much. Look at the ward coverage. Yomi Tanuki have got pretty aggressive sentries on the left-hand side. Shinigami's allowed to play aggressively because he will know if Leon start to make those rotations. The Kaolin Wardens similarly have aggressive wards, but why? Get them defensively. Help Tuba out because really nobody's rotating over to help him.
On the right side of the map, Tanuki have great ward coverage and basically all of the jungle entrances over from mid. Actually, a couple of them just now timing out, but seems like solo lane and mid, at least from the right, will be relatively covered vision-wise for the Yomi Tanuki. Rundis might want now because that blue buff has been under pressure effectively every single time. Slash at 201. Rundis just the earlier assist here in this game. Building up stacks on that Tablet of Destiny. And that's one of the really good synergies over in solo lane. RDO, Tablet. It's felt fine for a lot of the solo laners so far here this weekend. It's Pyromancer pulled. Looked at least by the Kaolin Wardens. Leon and Grave battling it out a bit. He'll take the beads. Maybe still back away to the objective.
Oceans is taking a lot of damage. If Promise finds this flank, that River's Rebuke could be massive. Good job forcing them back, but the Kaolin Wardens reset their objective.
River's Rebuke up, but that's defensive from Promise. Pretty big teamfight utility now gone. if the Yomi Tanuki and the Kaolin Wardens continue to fight out. I'm a big fan of the new Stone of Binding, by the way. I think, you know, if you have all these forms of even soft CC, it just feels like you're getting so much value out of it. If Leon is going to be running in on these fights, Serket's in a pretty good spot to make good value out of that. Grave plus Leon, though. It's been a fun battle to watch so far. Grave winning the early portion of this game, Myth, but suddenly feels like the Serket's found its footing.
Yeah, it's that survivability, again, that Stone of Binding you bring up, giving over just the opportunity to play Initiator. You notice how in these team fights, Leon, generally the first one in, chooses the target, tries and toss him towards the team. Oceans will be hovering nearby, but maybe not as mobile as this Serket. Yomi Tanuki, they've seen the playbook of the Kaolin Wardens.
Wow.
They want that Pyro. Yomi Tanuki, they just take it away?
Yomi Tanuki, they just drop it. They'll pick up the Runic Bomb, but is it going to cost Promise his life? It sure does. Sticks around for just half a second to pick up the Runic Bomb, and the Kaolin Wardens right on time to call the Yomi Tanuki on their objective pull. But we have seen so many times over the course of this weekend where teams are, yes, getting kills, but they're losing in objectives. That's exactly what's happening here. Tanuki behind in kills, but up almost 3,000 gold. That'll change. The Wardens have grouped up on tier 1 and mid. That'll shift a little bit of gold back, so call it a 2,000 gold lead when it's all said and done. But a Fury about to respawn, Myth, and I think that'll be our next battleground.
I think so. With Runic Bomb in the pocket of Promise, I might even call it worth to trade your life to pick that up, considering the spawn timer of this Oni Fury. 1,000 damage goes a long way. We'll see whether or not the Kaolin Wardens can contest.
Ocean's on the initiation, but he's just sent XD to the back of the fight, and Ocean's forced to leap away while Grave will dash right back in. The Wardens have lost the first blood of this fight. Slash galloping away, so he won't get the stun. And a rough-looking early portion of this fight for the Wardens.
Wardens, though, still healthy with their 4 core members, can try and stick around. But Yomi Tanuki, with all their sustain, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they had just taken a fight. Fury going slow, it's all about the bait.
Oh man, Rundus being chunked down just a bit. He'll head his way out of the Oni Fury pit. Respawns through from Ocean. Still doesn't have Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but does have Shell, so there's still some utility in this fight for the Kaolin Warden support. Rundus needing some of the sustain that Promise can't provide. Oh, he needs a lot of it. Right around the corner go the Kaolin Wardens. Joshi deletes the soul laner of the Yomi Tanuki. And now the scale's tilting just right back to the Kaolin Wardens. Tanuki had a small advantage, unable to press it. Now it's the Warden's turn.
Tuba still relatively low, as is Slash. It's not
again.
about the Fury. We're looking for the fight.
Uh-oh, Grave, he's in the back.
Good
He's got Tuba. And Tuba somehow lives, but not for any longer. Grave will finish off the dive, and Joshi's on a killing spree. After 2 straight kills, Oceans will clean it up, but Joshi did 99% of the damage. The Wardens bait in the Tanuki wonderfully. And now after some burn, this Oni Fury goes to the Chaos team.
Yeah, Yomi Tanuki, I think, maybe playing with a bit overconfidence around their sustain. Rundus sticking around at about 50% HP, gives over an easy target for Leon. Can't sustain when he's hit you with the ultimate. Immediately afterward, Grave, hero play syndrome, tries to go in, turn it all around for his team. Finds the kill onto Tuba, but Tuba is not a factor in these team fights. Doug, can we get a look at the player damage? I want to see actually how active Tuba's been. Well, about middle of the charts. Actually put up a good deal of number. I didn't really even realize he had done that much. All right,
some poke damage
good dive.
rolling through.
Yeah, poke damage, throw out the Heavenly Banner, a little bit of attack speed. All right, Tuba, I see you. 0-4. It's never looked this good before.
No, it hasn't. That's why it's surprising. Promise actually doing more damage than Shinigami by just about 100. Zimoja made its presence known. I just think back to exactly what goes wrong there for the Tanuki. Feels like the Wardens, maybe just good ward coverage, but maybe an overstay or 2 from the Tanuki. No resets on the health. Sustain is good, but not enough to delay a lot of what the Kaolin Wardens were looking to do. 7 affected kills for Joshi, who I think has had a wonderful tournament so far. Of course, a lot of the conversation with this team revolves around Leon and Slash after the set that Slash had yesterday. Joshi has just been so consistent for this team. This Tiamat has been a pick that they've gone to a couple of times, and it's consistently looked good.
You know, I've been talking to some Smite historians, and they had reminded me of Joshi's pedigree. Actually, an ex-SPL player,
yeah.
like way back when.
That's right.
In the mid lane, so I think no surprise to see that he's been doing well for himself and for this team. He's a bit of a quiet player, really likes to let his gameplay do the talking, and so far has done exactly that. The
How about
Kaolin
the team
Wardens,
mat in general? I mean,
it's a distinctly European style, and it's a distinctly European player.
yeah, it works. Promise. Gonna get chunked down a bit. XD will send out a bit of the void damage just to keep the Kaolin Wardens at bay. Now Pyromancer looked at by the Wardens. The juggling of objectives continues. Tanuki have an opportunity to step forward. Remember, you have snipes from Shinigami. If you want to use that ultimate early, Ocean steps forward, sends Promise back.
Not great.
Slash dashing right back through. Oceans and Promise, these two supports just exchanging which one is going to lose half of their HP first. Little sustain from Slash. Looks like keeps Oceans in the fight. Has to stick around. Grave searching for that opening target. Backline has constantly been that option.
A lot of damage.
Pyromancer down to half. Smash forward. Drops a stun. Grave looking for the backline. Has found a double knockup, but the rest of the dive is just a bit slower. Tuba survives and first kill of the game. Finally hit for the Hachimon. It'll be a double. And when it rains, it pours. Suddenly Shinigami's got to use beads because the Kaolin Wardens have a little extra damage, a little extra CC on the end of the fight.
They're resustaining slowly. Oceans
Whoa.
playing with fire. I think I'd prefer to see him back in base. He doesn't even have the mana to play here. But will use his body to create the space. Pyromancer falls down. And the Kaolin Wardens credit for it this time around. Yomi Tanuki, it's over-aggression again that I think cost him this fight. Rundus walks in completely on his own. Takes way too much damage before the rest of his team can follow up. XD tries to get in range. Tries to throw out something to peel out for Rundus, but just takes too much. I believe it may have been splash damage from Tuba on that ultimate. Grave afterwards, similarly to the Gold Fury, notices Rundus gets knocked out, says, I have to do it, and I got to do it on my own. Goes in with the ultimate, nearly knocks down two. That double knockup into the immediate AoE damage Volcanic Lightning. Although massive, not enough on his own to secure those kills. And the Kaolin Wardens claw their way back into an advantageous position. You got to play careful, though. I know Gold Fury's spawning. It's very easy to get tunnel vision, put the horse blinders on, and think about that alone. As we've crossed that 21-minute threshold, Fire Giant, a pretty decent target for both of these teams.
Yep. Tuba has really had a turnaround in this game. Myth now finishes up dominance, back to level equity with Shinigami, where he was 2 levels behind for a large portion of this game.
Yeah, killing Grave will do that for you.
Yeah, that'll do it. Grave, you know, it's sort of every once in a while, it'll be the jungle mentality where you're going to go in, you're going to delete a target, but you're going to die. And you often see high kills, but high death numbers. That's what's happening to Grave after what was a really nice start. Stone of Binding, that feels good for LA right now. Rundus has already used the beads, and there'll be a chase down by the Kaolin Wardens. It'll Oceans on the kill, and immediately back to FG. That is an instant FG call for the Kaolin Wardens. They do have a runic bomb, but the Yomi Tanuki, they've got a few on the right side of the map.
Slash, locks eyes with Promise. Leon does the same. It's a zone here, but the Fire Giant is taking no damage. You got to make a call. Either let Yomi Tanuki in and take the fight, or keep up the zone and commit yourself to the burn. But so far, at 80%, nobody's hitting the fire.
Rundus has teleport in 10 seconds, not upgraded, so it'll have to just be to the tower on right. Kaolin Wardens, they agree with you, Myth. They don't like how long that Fire Giant was taking. Maybe hoping to bait in someone from the Tanuki. We saw that around the Gold Fury. It was just Kaolin Wardens, they were chilling on the objective. The Tanuki step up, and the Kaolin Wardens turn it around, get the kill, and then get the objective
Tanuki
later.
don't know.
It is a repull. Rundus did teleport to right, and now the Tanuki forced to head back over to the Fire Giant pit. Rundus respawns, teleports, dies again. And there's your bait from the Kaolin Wardens. They would have loved Fire Giant if nobody showed up, but someone did. And now you got a one-man advantage. You already got 4 working down the tower on the right side.
It's ugly there from Rundus. The die into respawn, TP in, die immediately combo. Never pretty, but I think legitimately prevents the Kaolin Wardens from grabbing Fire Giant. I don't think the rest of the Tanuki were realizing it. Grave maybe started his rotation over towards the right-hand side of the map, but too little too late. Rundus prevents the largest neutral objective.
This could be a very costly death. Kaolin Wardens get a little damage on the right side. Phoenix, but don't stick around. So they'll head back. 0-5 for Rundus on this RDO. Now, a lot of that was active decision-making from Leon, right? The Circuit hung out on right with Slash a good bit of the time.
Oh, no, again. Not Rundus again. Come on.
No. Well, he's in trouble. He doesn't have beads for 50 seconds.
Let my man breathe.
Does he even know they're behind him? No, he has no way of knowing they're behind him. Leon
Oh, no.
goes forward, stun from Slash. Everyone look away, close your eyes,
Oh,
you didn't see it. There's a slight smile on Rundus's face, right? That's the best you can do is, all right. Like, come on. Yeah, head shake, we don't have ward coverage. That's unfortunate, and there's nothing you can do. It's an active choice from the Kaolin Wardens to stick around and send one more death to the Ardia.
I mean, there are some things you could have done.
What? Not leave
Not
base,
walk up
I
to
guess.
the lane, like that
Sure.
lane in particular, I guess.
I'm trying to be nice.
Me too. Leave him alone.
At
Kaolin
0-6,
Wardens.
at 0-6, I'm trying to be nice. You're right, you don't have ward coverage on right. You know the Kaolin Wardens have been baiting this Fire Giant for the last couple of
You
minutes.
absolutely know they're there.
You know they're somewhere on that side of the jungle. You're right. There's different ways to have played that. Still hyper unfortunate. Pyromancer picked up.
He's doing it again. He's at least this time he knows where they are. All right.
Right.
Yeah, into the jungle, meet up with
Right.
the rest of the team.
Right.
Good stuff.
Unfortunately, Rundus, same level as Oceans, and just one level ahead of his own support. Difficult game so far for this Ardia. Gonna need some time to get that build fully stacked up where the Kaolin Wardens have really taken things over. The last couple of objective fights seems like just baiting the Tanuki a bit more effectively, fighting with a one-man advantage. Now double Runic Bomb plus Primal Fury. Didn't have the best Fire Giant shred a moment ago, but they should be feeling a bit better.
It's not even that they didn't have the
They
shred.
just didn't really commit,
They
maybe.
legitimately didn't hit it.
Yeah.
But there was like a miscommunication. Let's bait him in, save your abilities, don't burn the Fire Giant. Slash says, okay, I'm baiting him in, and walks directly at the enemy, kind of forcing them back. Had he allowed Yomi Tanuki a little bit further into the pit, I think the Fire Giant fight actually happens. That said, Kaolin Wardens with 2 Runic Bombs, I think, reset, walk to Fire Giant, just pull it, commit. You've got best burst on map, easily 2,000 damage immediately from just Leon, and that's not even taking into account the fact that he's got a mage on his team. So Tiamat should help out a good deal there. You got a slight lead in the fight, about 4,000 gold. It's mainly about the power spikes, though. On the right-hand side, you're starting to approach 6 slot. Already upgraded some of those starters. Pendulum of the Ages for Joshi, Leon going down that bluestone brooch tree. Significant power spike for Grave, though. And a fight around the Fire Giant would favor him. Protector of the jungle. Get a percentage power around the Fire Giant. Pele's always been the goddess of 1-for-1 trades. I think maybe now 2-for-1 might be in the odds.
Feels like the story of Grave and Tuba have been intertwined so far this game, where Grave's game started out wonderfully. A couple of the kills at the hands of Tuba, or the feet of Tuba. Tuba starts off 0-4, now suddenly on a 4-kill streak, where Grave has quieted out a bit over the last few minutes of this game. So a tilting of the scales in that area as well. Now the Yomi Tanuki, they've got data on how the Kaolin Wardens want to play this. What they don't have data on is exactly where Leon is. Sends some damage towards Rundus, but he's caught in the River's Rebuke, or is he? Will dash away and off to the side. Snipes up from Shinigami. But Shell helping out a little bit here. Grave looking for the back line, looking for Joshi, but won't get him. Joshi has flipped it around. Rundus from the depths, though, has turned it and gotten a very valuable kill onto the Tiamat, but Leon still has leg in this fight, and Aegis necessary from XD, and it pays off. 1-for-1 trade, Joshi down for Grave.
Shinigami putting up a whole lot of damage in that fight. If he's not there, sinking auto attacks into Leon, that goes completely south for Yomi Tanuki. Gotta give credit to Joshi, though. Survives for much longer than he had any right to do, and that's without even having to use the beads. Only the Aegis lost there to the DPS of Grave, who found a great opportunity to apply his damage. I'm not so certain that Joshi can be left alone like he was in that fight, though. It was Slash trying to catch up, make sure Grave pays for it, Tuba as well. The rest of the team is playing around this Tiamat. I think it was much more difficult for Grave to go for those solo agent style plays. With that said, the Kaolin Wardens are capable of executing the same level of dive. Surcat maybe not dealing the same amount of damage on her own, but certainly just as mobile as a Pele, has a great opportunity to jump on a Shinigami, who seems to be one of the biggest threats on the map right now. The backline of the Yomi Tanuki actually undying, 0-0-3, twinning between XD and Shinigami. Someone's got to stop them. If you can kill either one of the two, the Wardens will feel much more confident in their ability to just pull the fire.
Yep. Well, it's relics down for XD, so maybe where Leon will find an opening, choose to find his initiation. Primal Fury's going to be up here in just a couple moments of time. Clearly, you're not going to want to swap one for the Fire Giant, Primal Fury for the Fire Giant, but is a threat.
Could triple bomb set up here? That's essentially just a Phoenix dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're going to have a lot of burst damage. The Kaolin Wardens, unless this is stolen away by the Tanuki, will have a third runic bomb down on the map. Leon's got 2. Oceans has 1.
Is that allowed?
Yeah, it's happening. They don't time out. You can sit on those for as long as you want.
Like, they could just backdoor a Phoenix.
Yeah, but this is the call. The Kaolin Warden's a slight pump fake to left. The Yomi Tanuki immediately head to the Fire Giant, but is this a bait from the Kaolin Wardens? They might get enveloped here. Or the Yomi Tanuki, rather, might get enveloped here by the Kaolin Wardens.
Too slow.
But not enough damage, and what was a tense moment fizzles out.
No way they could actually just pull the fire. They do at least get vision in the pit. That Sentry Ward gets rid of what the Kaolin Wardens had set up previously. Holding a defensive position much easier than fighting into it, so Yomi Tanuki have that to lean on.
Promise initiated on by Leon. Got to be a kill for the Kaolin Wardens, but instead, it's Leon who's got to leap away. Blink, initiation, beads, all down from this Circuit. Got to play carefully. Also, you're worried about killing off XD. You got to kill him twice. Alternate timeline picked up for the Merlin. You don't get a full reheal, but it does make it difficult for the enemy team to shift priority and then shift back eventually. Grave, Leon, they're going 1 for 1, but Grave hasn't completed the kill. Joshi has. He's done too much, and the Kaolin Wardens call him on it.
Leon could be the target. It's Tuba taking the damage. Shinigami up to the air, but left alone on an island. Will be able to roll towards the rest of his team. The Kaolin Wardens reset back towards the Fire Giant, get it right back into a neutral state. This time, though, Grave dead for 40. Yomi Tanuki fighting without their carry.
There are 3 runic bombs on the map, but 2 of them just now leaving the base of the Kaolin Wardens. Leon will be back here in time. It's pretty telling. We actually haven't seen many get used on the Fire Giant. It might depend on how far forward the Yomi Tanuki want to play this. Leon, he can see low health Rundus, low health Promise. Really low health. Nice. Great minds. Fire Giant down beneath half. Oceans is there if you want to drop the runic bomb, but the Yomi Tanuki playing far enough back. You might not need it. Promise initiated on by Leon. Runic bomb used by Oceans. Rundus back behind the Kaolin Wardens, and they're low. 3 members of the Kaolin Wardens nearing red HP. Alternate timeline wears out. A double kill for Leon, and none of those red health bars will reach 0. Fire Giant +2 for the Kaolin Wardens.
Rundus on the retreat, but how far can he make it? Minotaur doesn't connect the slow, but the damage is certainly there. Shinigami, though, he's putting up numbers.
Shinigami, you gotta win this fight. Grave rejoins, but Rundus ends up dropping, and Grave with it all to do won't get any of it done but 1. And a double kill for Joshi, who's had a heck of a game in game 1 against the Yomi Tanuki. Improves to 7, 1, and 12 on the Tiamat. Talking about one of the mid laners that needs to die. It's Joshi, who's just been on an absolute tear.
Got a lot of time to play here. XD up in 20.
It's literally all
you're
Joshi
really worried about.
damage.
Yeah, I mean, Joshi's Tiamat is ridiculous. That we've been known about that. I just take it for granted by now. Phoenix, their siege. Promise can't do it on his own. They should be able to get this back
bomb.
up.
Boom, big one.
Oh wait, they got a couple bomb. 1 more bomb's left.
Might be able to get a second Phoenix off of it.
EFG helps out with the mitigation
Doink.
as well. That's 1,000 immediately.
That's beefy. It's a pretty costly second wave of fighting there from Yomi Tanuki. Now lose both mid and right Phoenix almost immediately. Left side tower is still standing, and so that was not an option for the Wardens, but great value.
As an interaction, I hadn't thought about it all either, Dave. I mean, EFG getting rid of the backdoor protections, which would have mitigated the true damage of the runic bomb. Maybe that's what the Kaolin Wardens were waiting for. Hey, we got our EFG, now we can start using these bombs to take out these birds. Clean play from the Wardens. A lot of baits there. Grave, I think if you want to go back to his initial spill around the Fire Giant where he tries to all in onto Leon, a play I do not want to see repeated. The Volcanic Lightning, you can use it to chase a Surcat, but you've got to really know that all of her mobility is down. Leon just uses the leap over the wall, joins his team, and Grave left high and dry, dies alone. From there, Yomi Tanuki never quite found their footing, and the Kaolin Wardens continually bait them in towards the Fire Giant pit. Finally, put it on 4 belts. Getting EFG off of Tuba, though, very big for Yomi Tanuki. Grave, if you had to go for a 1-for-1 there, I think you chose your right target. Now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to actually siege in towards these tier 2s, these Phoenixes. I doubt we see a hard defense from Tanuki, even though they have got the Merlin, and I do love Merlin on defense. this deficit a little bit too large.
Feels like this has just been a brutal game for the front line of the Tanuki. I mean, you're looking at 20 kills total for the Kaolin Wardens. 18 of them spread across jungle, solo, and support, where the carries have just been killed off once. Whereas on the flip side, Tanuki have 8 kills. 5 of them are on Tuba, and they happened early in the game, and then 3 sort of intermittently elsewhere. This Wardens team really just figured out the mid-game, it felt like, Myth, especially around some of those early Furies. Bait-in, one-man advantage ends up turning into a kill. I've loved what they've done with the Runic Bombs. We see 2 of the 3 used on the Phoenixes in the last moment. And then the Fire Giant gets a Runic Bomb just for confirm a moment ago. Feels like the Wardens maybe just needed some time to wake up here in this first game and got back to their identity in the last 15 or 20 minutes.
They just needed a Hunter player, and they didn't have one for the first 10 because he was being accosted. Similarly to Rundus. I mean, Tuba and Rundus, I think maybe some parity in their journeys here. The hero's journey of getting caught between your towers continually, but eventually
how does that journey
turns
end?
Around. Well, I mean,
for one of them.
Yeah, for one of them. That's the harsh truth of competition, Dave. Someone's got to lose.
So one of them's on the loser's journey. The
Well,
other one's on the hero's journey, I guess. Tuba on a good pace right now with the rest of their team. Rundus, unfortunately, want to talk about it being brutal for front lines, walks forward like an Artio wants to. Actually found a really nice 3-man stun in a sort of second wind fight there for the
Good
Tanuki.
flank, too.
But it's been peeled out. Again, I think Joshy's got some really nice self-peel so far here this game, getting some knockups. And getting the Tanuki off the Tiamat. That 1 needs to become a 2 at some point in that death column if the Tanuki want any chance at winning any of these fights. Runic Bomb picked up by Leon this time. 2 towers and a Phoenix still standing. Feels like now it's just a simple game of chess for the Kaolin Wardens. You got some very obvious moves to put yourself in checkmate scenario.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally one avenue to walk down because they've done all the work everywhere else. So maybe put some enhanced minion waves through those lanes, but otherwise work through the last remaining bird of Yomi Tanuki. Tanuki cannot allow this fight to enter the Titan room. I think if it's going to go their way, it's got to happen around this Phoenix or maybe outside of it. So difficult to make the comeback once all 3 birds are down.
Leon, he is wrapping through the mid lane. That is now open. See, already some nice poke damage on that Phoenix. Leon and Slash, they're playing off of one another very effectively. Fire minions will slowly make their way down the right side of the map, so that'll soften up the defense of the Yomi Tanuki just a little bit, and the Kaolin Wardens will be able to play off of it. So you've got plenty of time here with those fire minions on mid and fire minions on right. Now it's just about Tuba getting just a bit more damage on that Phoenix. He's able to do so now. Promise stun. Whirlwind of Rage and Steel onto Rundus, and he's brought back into the Lion's Den. 3rd Phoenix down. Rundus stunned. But Rundus with the beads will be able to dash away this time. Shinigami out of the snipes. No, he drops right at the feet of the Kaolin Wardens. And this has been inevitable. But the Kaolin Wardens are dropping the Yomi Tanuki, and they'll take over game 1.
The Kaolin Wardens make hard adaptations here in the set. What had cost them their previous sets was objective play. Group up around the Gold Fury, have it stolen. Group up around the Fire Giant, have it stolen. It seems to me, instead of committing to, hey, let's just secure our objectives, it's let's not go for the objective unless it's absolutely guaranteed. It's always a bait for the fight. I didn't see them group up on a gold and coin toss it a single time. A Fire Giant, not there either. It's always wait for them to come in,